No. Are we still here? Are we doing this again?
Oh man, the Lord of Time fucked with us.
Yeah, oh no!
Damn it, Epic.
You undid the entire episode. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
Today we're going to talk about Gen 13 Spider-Man, one of the worst crossovers ever.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, Gen 13 crossover with Spider-Man because, like, everyone wanted money. It's written by Peter David with art by Cam Smith.
We're going back to like the first episodes of back issues here.
Right?
Yeah.
We are, yeah. Like the first episode, episode 1 was Spider-Man. Episode 2 was Gen 13.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. We're finally doing it. We found a way to merge both episodes into one through the only way you can get this crossover, unless you go to like a dollar bin from an old comic book store. But it Crossover Classics is, Marvel.
Which volume is this?
Volume 3. This is, here comes the dregs. Although this does collect a lot of cool stuff, including Spider-Man Batman, which is arguably my favorite intercompany crossover of all time. It doesn't waste any time. It's not bullshit. This story is about the team from Gen 13. You know, the bunch. Grunge and Rainmaker and Burnout and Fairchild and Mr. Lynch. And I'm sure there's another one I forgot.
Tell me they're not the band.
They're not. They're at a concert because they're teenagers, and teenagers go to concerts.
That's what they do.
That's true, they do that.
Yes. They're watching this band, which is called Black Lung Disease. Lol. Like the Butthole Surfers or whatnot. But anyway, the Gen 13 is just a bunch of teenagers that are hanging out, and like they have superpowers. And the whole premise of the book was so J. Scott Campbell and Brandon Choi could draw naked chicks that are covered in like tight spandex.
But barely legal naked chicks.
Nah. And backstage, Spider-Man is getting his ass kicked by a supervillain.
Yeah?
This lady in a very generic supervillain costume.
Okay, yeah, it's just purple. It's just purple.
She's got little wings and stuff, and she can like kind of.
Black Widow, why are you attacking me?
But like then it's like, okay, well wait, she has to have like powers too. So I guess she can like make energy knives out of nothing. Like what? Oh, and she can teleport too.
Whoa! All right, so she's Black Widow, Nightcrawler, and Psylocke.
Yeah, and so she's fighting Spider-Man for no reason in La Jolla, California.
Why is he there?
In the Image universe.
What?
But Peter David makes no attempt.
Right. Okay.
He's just like, yeah, right.
Yeah, why wouldn't Spider-Man be there?
The reason why Spider-Man and Gen 13 haven't crossed over before is because Spider-Man doesn't go to La Jolla, California.
Oh. But today he did.
And he did this
and
time.
so they do.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. And so she knocks Spider-Man off of some rafters, and he lands literally in the arms of Roxy, a.k.a. Freefall, from Gen 13.
Okay.
And she's like, whoa, Spider-Man, what are you doing in this Gen 13 book? And Spider-Man's like, I don't know. And then...
I just want to go home.
Yes. So he, like, tries to leave, and then...
Here's the thing, I wasn't supposed to be here, and then I got caught up in this shit.
Yeah, so Spider-Man tries to leave the book, but Gen 13 won't let him, and so...
No, come back! You'll boost our sales so much!
No, please! No, let me tell you something. At this time, Spider-Man's sales are in the toilet. Gen 13 is selling crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because the world is topsy-turvy, just like this crossover. So Spider-Man's trying to track down this lady because she's a supervillain, and she was just like doing some bad stuff. Who the fuck knows why or
I
cares?
don't even know what her motivation or goal is.
No, and later you
it's
find
just Mary Jane with a short haircut.
right? By the way, her motivation and goal is she is going through a custody battle with her husband. Spider-Man's like outside the concert hall. He gets attacked by this stupid character.
She won't let it go.
She won't let it go. She's like, I gotta stop him. So then,
He'll
I thought you had
expose
to
me.
get shit on your husband.
well,
so
she's
you
doing
get
that.
custody.
Well, you find that out later.
Oh.
But
Now
anyway,
she just wants to fight.
yeah. So then, remember that scene in Ninja Turtles the movie when Raph saves April and then brings April to the lair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens in this, where Spider-Man gets knocked out. Gen 13 tries to help him, and then he passes out. And so they take him back to their place.
So
Which is a sweet fucking apartment.
Yeah, and because Lynch owns it and everything. But like, so now they're all.
What is happening here?
Burnout is the only one who doesn't like the idea of Spider-Man being being here in their place. And he could draw attention to them because they're trying to live a normal life and like kind of obfuscate their Gen active powers. And Spider-Man's also a known vigilante and a public menace based on the newspapers.
Right.
So he's like arguing against it, and then he notices that Rainmaker is like making sexual like mouth moves at him.
Yeah.
And that, like, makes him knock it off because I guess she's implying she'll blow him if he, like, lets Spider-Man stay there. And then what's amazing about this collection is there's a scene here where Freefall and Rainmaker talk to each other about how she's like, why did you do that? I thought you were gay. And she's like, yeah, but, like, sometimes I'm not, so whatever. Plus, he's a man and he'll just fall for it anyway. And so... this collection decided that was kind of weird and inappropriate, so they just removed the speech bubbles.
So that it makes no sense.
I was gonna say, like, why is there no text there?
You know why? Because no one's reading it. Why would they be? How can they read speech bubbles they're never gonna see? So.
It's so weird.
So then Lynch comes home, and Lynch, of course, is like their bodyguard / also the father of Burnout, and he's also like. You know, he's not kind of on the run because he used to work for the government, and then he like pissed them off and decided to like, run Gen13 instead. And so he shows back up at their house, and you know he's like, "Hey kids, what's going on?" And they're like, "Not much." And Spider-Man's being held up on the ceiling so that he can't see him, and then you know,
so one of them has powers that do that, I guess.
Freefall has that. She can create like. She's a cooler Jubilee. She can create like plasmoids, but like they're basically just balls that are of energy that can defy gravity, and she can use them to like make herself defy gravity, or she can help Spider-Man defy gravity.
Around,
yeah, I don't think there's ever been a time when someone has walked into a room and someone has been on the ceiling that they have not been noticed.
And like, there's a big shadow over me, or some difference that
I walk in the room and guess what? My peripheral vision
sees something.
See that.
Yeah. No, but it's comedy. So the mom is woken up by her daughter. Who's like,
the villain.
The villain. Yeah,
okay,
the mom.
Yeah.
And her daughter's like, "Do I have to go to school today? Because we're like an hour late to school." She's like, "Oh shit!" So she throws her daughter into the car and speeds
without
to
a
school.
seatbelt.
Yeah, and like
there weren't seatbelts.
Yeah, and she's like feeding her, you know, like garbage food to get her like nourished and get her.
Here, eat garbage.
And then she drops her off at school, and across the school parking lot is the private investigator that her ex-husband hired.
Oh,
and she's like, "Screw you!" And he's like, "Kind of a late start to your day. Looks pretty bad. Don't you have a custody hearing today?"
Also, why were you fighting Spider-Man last night?
Well,
I'm a really good private investigator.
Yeah. There's also a subplot in Gen 13 where they have a sentient robot maid that's also sexy.
Of course they do.
Spider-Man,
why not?
Sure.
Yeah, Spider-Man bumps into her when he wakes up, and she attacks him, and then he...
What? Well, he's not supposed to be there.
Because he's not supposed to be there. She doesn't know who he is.
She's not just a maid. She's a defense robot.
Yeah.
She shoots fire out of her hands.
No, that's Burnout. Like, he's trying to like escape because he doesn't know where he is or anything. All this was made without his permission while he was unconscious.
Oh.
So like he's jumping through the windows and Burnout's trying to stop him. So he like instinctively just sets him on fire. So Spider-Man jumps into the pool where Rainmaker is nude swimming.
Oh.
And he's like, "Hi." So then we go to the custody hearing where Mom's getting like some because. The idea with Mom, the villain, is whose name, by the way, is Glider, because she can like glide and make energy knives and teleport.
If
So,
you can teleport,
Glider has many
gliding
powers.
kind of sucks.
Yeah. But Glider, see, the thing is, Glider kind of has like a split personality, where like Glider is like the evil, like kind of like crime person, and then Mom is like the unwilling participant.
Yeah.
But she's also like not. She also is totally willing, and it's more like it's kind of a bullshit dodge.
Yeah, she's like, it's really, Glider really helps me out when I want to like
Steal things or like facilitate my own ends without like legal means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the custody hearing goes about as well as you can expect.
Why is there a photograph in the middle of this book?
We want you to get the impression that we're in like the real world. Gen 13 is like the real, or the artist is really lazy and just wanted to use a photograph instead of a fucking drawing.
Well, I wanted to use an image that everyone would recognize, this Marriott Hotel.
Yeah,
But I knew if I drew it, it was going to look like shit, so I just put a picture in.
Yeah.
I'm not that good an artist though, so like, why would I just put a picture?
Well,
So-
no, it happened like, doesn't this look really good?
Yeah,
You're welcome.
So Spider-Man. Oh,
it's photorealistic.
yeah.
That's because it's a photograph, though.
So, by the way, Glider gets a tip from like her network of like elite soldiers that are also like part of her little.
Oh,
like, there's
it keeps
this.
getting bigger.
Oh, there's all this stuff. That but who cares? Because Glider never appears in any Spider-Man or Gen 13 comic again. So it's like, oh, and also she has this team of bad guys.
And she's also a multi-billionaire who runs a gigantic corporation.
Oh, and also she can defeat Batman. Batman, it's a Marvel Image crossover. Yeah,
shut up, I'm on a roll.
I'm Peter David.
She also created the anti-life equation.
She's also celestial.
Yeah, it's God, what? So, and
these are all other personalities that she has, which is not being a mom.
So her squad gets information. It gets intel about where Spider-Man is, and so they track Spider-Man down to.
Is her squad other moms?
No, it's not it's
not
the
the mom
MILF
squad.
It's the mom squad or the MILF Society, where it's just moms I'd like to frag, or that sucked. So
that was decent.
Thank you.
That was good.
I appreciate it.
By the way, it's a really fun team concept.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of moms that are that all lost their custody hearings and just want revenge. So that's what's gonna happen is that the Death Squad shows up and Glider and a bunch of shit happens.
Okay.
Also, these teenagers never took off Peter Parker's mask.
No, they're
cool
good. They're good people.
I don't buy that.
Well,
they're heroes too.
No, they're
Burnout would do it.
yeah, he would, but he didn't. And what's funny is, so then after the Rainmaker situation where he sees her naked, he goes back into the house.
Oh, you're all buoyant.
But he has a cup of coffee. And they're talking to him about how, you're our favorite superhero. We've looked up to you since we were kids. And he's like, you're 15, 16 years old. What are you talking about since you were kids? You were already children.
Yeah, you are.
And they're like, and he's like, and so he goes, well, that's cool. I'm going to go now. Thanks, weird, not X-Men. So then he starts to leave and Rainmaker's helping him, walking him out. And she's like, sorry they rattled you. I don't understand. He's like, I'm just not used to being looked up to Gen Xers. It's just kind of weird. And Rainmaker goes, ugh, Gen Xers, I hate that phrase. We're aimless and we don't have any identity of our own and we blah, 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 blah. Thanks, Peter David, I get it. And then they open the door and Glider and Death Squad are there and you're like, oh no. And so they fight.
And what is Glider trying to do?
So they fight Spider-Man and then, and it turns out that the Gen 13's headquarters is right near Glider's daughter's school.
Oh.
And so this fight goes all the way over to the school.
Oh, for convenience.
Yeah. One of Glider's henchmen goes rogue and says okay, this is all gone off the rails. He winds up pointing a gun at a group of children at the school, one of whom happens to be
her
daughter. Because he's this has all gotten out of control. We got teenagers with superpowers. We got Spider-Man. I did not sign on for this.
Is he just taking him hostage so he can get out of there? Is that the idea?
Yes.
I'm getting out of here.
He doesn't even say that.
No.
He's just
he's just being a douche.
He's just pointing a gun at kids now.
For no reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or he's gone crazy. He's just this is insane. I might as well just kill these kids.
Yeah. So then she's knock it off. We're not doing that. And he's like, shut up. This is my I'm the leader of this squad that you hired out to use anyway. So screw you. And then
I say we kill these kids for no reason.
Yes. And so to prove he's serious, he bonks her daughter on the head, which makes Glider teleport, steal a gun, and then shoot the Death Squad. And then Spider-Man disarms the dude who's going to kill the children so that Glider could then kill that guy. And then the daughter screams out that she wants her daddy.
Okay. Yeah.
Which makes Glider
ashamed.
Oh.
But then the one dude who wanted to kill the children in the first place, he pulls out a sidearm and then shoots Glider.
Oh.
And what? So she's oh, and then the Gen 13 people are do we help her? And Spider-Man's are you fucking for real? Yes, we help everyone that needs help. What's the matter with you?
But she's
then
a villain.
But then he pulls the Glider cape out of the way and she's gone.
Oh, she's
teleported out of the way. And then the story ends with Glider's alter ego in the hospital because she had a gunshot wound, and because she's at the hospital and because the daughter's school was attacked by terrorists, the courts all decide that the daughter should live with the father that's further away from this town because it's too dangerous, and so she loses custody of her daughter.
Wait, whoa! You just closed the book. The end.
Oh, and Spider-Man had one of his cameras set up during the fight, so he gets the byline.
He gets some pictures for the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
He makes a little bit of money.
I'm sorry. That's the crossover between Spider-Man and Gen 13.
Yeah.
The woman wants to get custody of her daughter, and
Gen 13 and Spider-Man are in it too.
yeah, and she doesn't.
No.
She loses.
Well, because she's a supervillain.
Because she's a bad guy.
Because fuck you.
Here's the thing. The dad's also a supervillain, but we never find out.
That would be great. It's not. He's just a guy.
It's Dr. Doom.
Well, and don't worry, yeah, right? But don't worry, we never meet any of those characters ever again. I mean, the Gen 13 and Spider-Man, sure, but like Glider and Alyssa, her daughter, and the dad, and what of the private investigator the dad hired, and what about that one rogue Death Squadron guy? Did he die?
Because he just shot her, and then we'd never heard about...
I think he dies, but like...
No, she wasn't shot. She bonked him on the head.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, he bonked her daughter on the head.
Yeah, he bonked the daughter, and then he shot the mom.
And then the mom shot...
Well, mom shot him, and then he, right before he died, pulled out a sidearm and shot the mom.
Never mind.
This is amazing. It doesn't even say end. There's nothing.
Well, that's because it used to say the end in the original collected volume, but when it's in this trade here, they
just smash it into
randomly.
the next one.
Maybe that was deemed offensive as well because it's such a horrible ending and it's so inappropriate.
Is this Jubilee a vampire?
No, Jubilee won't be a vampire in this continuity for another
Harvest of Evil, man.
Which is Gen 13 meets Gen X, which is more stuff happens in it.
Ah.
So yeah, Gen 13 Spider-Man.
Or Spider-Man Gen 13, really.
Yeah,
right?
and I think it actually is Spider-Man Gen 13. But it's great because the art sucks and the story sucks even harder. And what's even more amazing is that Peter David has been writing comic books for 30 years, and he knows how to craft a story. And I don't know which company had it over on him and forced him to write that.
Right.
But it's very it has shades of JLA Wildcats where it's hey, really, really accomplished, talented writer who has a lot of good stuff under his belt. Want to write this garbage crossover for some reason? The answer should be no.
How about I have this photo of you
doing
7 years ago doing something terrible?
Maybe it's just a really risque photo of Peter David and Grant Morrison.
Right?
And they got a 2-for-1 out of it.
Yeah.
You have to write JLA Wildcats, and you have to write Spider-Man Gen 13.
There's a fucking dinosaur in this issue.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Spider-Man Gen 13. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. And, of course, if you're not familiar with this program, this is a show where I explain a comic book from my past to two people who have no context or understanding about them because you guys didn't grow up reading them. So if you like this, check out more over at the end where we got a whole playlist you can check out. But thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
Bye.
Was this a thing?
I don't know.
Did we just do a thing?
Did we?
Was
this
a new
thing? I don't know.